Good evening, everyone. How lovely to see you all out here tonight. It felt like spring today, amazing. I'm Cherie Scott, and I am so privileged to be the host of this incredible series, Talking Food in Maine, Intimate Conversations. And I have one person to thank here, and he's Andrew Fenneman. I don't know where he is, I can't see him. Back there. Andrew was the former executive director of this theater, the heart and soul of this series. He launched it. It's his baby, and we're so happy to be able to see it in action again after COVID reared its ugly head. So thank you, Andrew. And I also want to share with you the focus of the series. It's innovation in food in the state of Maine by female founders. And so that's exciting for us to discuss that. And we've had such a great run so far. We had Susan Axelrod here from Cultured Cheese. We've had Amber Lamke here from Maine Grains, and Brianna Warner from Atlantic Sea Farms. And recently we had some delicious chocolate here with Kate McAleer. So it has been an amazing series. So let's give a big round of applause to the Lincoln Theater and its wonderful crew. And today, I think our guest needs no introduction, because you are all here because you know her and love her. And if you don't know her, you are going to love her. And without further ado, because we have so much ground to cover, I'm going to introduce you with a warm welcome to the one and only Miss Vanessa Santarelli, founder of Your Maine Concierge. All right, Vanessa, come on out. There she is. Have a seat.
Thank you so much.
How you doing, Vanessa?
Oh, I'm a little nervous.
You can take off your mask.
Yeah.
That's okay,
oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm actually forgetting something.
Did you forget something backstage?
Yeah. Do you mind?
Yeah. No. Go ahead. What do you need?
Paul, please.
Oh. Okay. Oh my.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Where's my glass?
You said you didn't want any. I would have been more than. Let's see how we go here. Would you like some?
No, it's okay. I'll let you enjoy that glass of wine.
The wine is sound.
Enjoy your conversation.
Thank you so much.
Wow, this is nice. I'm liking this.
I like it too.
Okay, so what are you drinking there? What is that?
It's a Croz's Hermitage 2019 vintage, and if you want, you could drink it out of the bottle. I mean, we are in Maine, so
This is
that
true.
works.
It sounds fancy. I like it already.
Okay, I needed it.
Awesome, awesome. Just cheers, Vanessa. So tell us a little bit about, or tell us everything about what was going on in your life in 2018. What happened?
Well, 2018. So I had a 20-year career in public policy and advocacy, and I have actually never lasted in one job for more than 5 years.
That's a good thing, right?
It is
would have
for
had
some
your
people.
main concierge.
It is for some people. And so, yeah, I was kind of going through a stage in my life where I was resigning from my current job. I use that in quotations because it was just a difficult time. Working in public policy and advocacy sometimes can be very stressful, but also very rewarding. I worked for over 20 years doing lobbying, advocacy for a whole range of social service issues, social service and public policy issues. And, you know, the environment can sometimes be toxic, and it's long, hard hours, and, you know, I've never been afraid of that. But at that time, I was like, you know, okay, I was kind of faced with this dilemma. Do I cash in my retirement for a third time? I've cashed in my retirement 3 times. You can do it, it's fun. No savings, it's a good idea. Or, you know, just kind of like say, oh, I have this education in political science and go and get the same kind of job. And I said, you know what? I really want to do something different, and it was a risk. But I was like, you know, I just can't keep doing the same thing. So I was literally debating all kinds of things. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm not a chef. My grandparents and my father were chefs, cooks. They own restaurants. And I was like, oh, do I take all my retirement and put it towards a restaurant? Do I open a bar? Good idea for somebody who likes to drink and has, sometimes issues with that, to open up a bar. That was a good idea. So I was like, you know what? No, I was thinking through all these different things, and I was scared. It was a time in my life where it's like, okay, I'm losing my livelihood. I have no job now, and what do I do? So I was like, all right, I'm cashing in my retirement. I'm going to try to start my own business. And I had always, when I had a real job, when I had an actual job, I would spend every dime that I made in my professional life on where I was going to eat, where I was going to stay, and recreating all over the state of Maine, which I loved. And I had already built all these relationships with chefs and others. So I said, all right, well, I'm not going to start my own restaurant. I'm not going to start my own business. I hear from all these people who go and travel abroad, and they want to eat where the locals go. They want to have somebody like in Italy who knows, hey, if you go down this alleyway and you turn right and you turn left and you say the magic word, somehow you get invited into the kitchen of, the most fabulous family. So I said, we're vacation land. And there was nothing kind of like this statewide concierge concept, at least in my mind. And so I went to try to start this business. And the banks I went to try to get a small business loan were like, we don't get it. And most people were like, we don't get it. And I'm like, I kind of don't know if I get it. But that's what I did. So, yeah.
So tell us about this iconic moment of you, like Evita, up on your on your thing.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what's going on.
Definitely
over there.
like Evita. Yeah. Wicked. So that's my house. I like to throw parties.
Really, Vanessa?
I like to throw lots of
Whenever
parties.
you're around, it is a party. Tonight's a party. I can already, and there's an after party, by the way.
There is an after party.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I throw this is my house in Rockland. Yeah. So when I actually started the business, it was called Tailor-Made Vacation. Like,
that's kind of neat.
We're going to tailor your vacation, and it's Maine, and I thought that sounded good. And then I went to see Chris Cast at the brand company with Maine Magazine at the time, and I was like, he's like, so tell me about it. I was like, because I knew that I needed some help with branding, and he's like, don't really love the name. And I was like, well, that's why I'm here, to talk to you. I don't love it either, but whatever. So anyway, so he gave me this form and he had me fill out these questions like, what's your personality of your business? What's this? What's that? And I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I like this guy. So anyways, so he came up with this, he gave me 5 different name ideas, and this was the first one, Your Maine Concierge. And this suitcase logo, which I made into my business cards, which people who I meet still, if I gave it to them 5 years ago, had tacked it up on their wall somehow because they thought it was like the coolest business card they'd ever seen. And anyway, so this was like the unveiling party. Everybody who came to my house.
There's only like 10 or 15 people there, right?
No, there were, there were like 80 or 100.
Like 100.
Yeah. So I would literally go around and hand out invitations to everybody and go, show up at my house, we're having a party every year. And so I kind of like co-opted people into being a part of my launch party. So that's
awesome.
That
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you had to go through some darkness to find this light, right? This moment in your life where you were like, okay, I finally found my calling, like what I want to do now. And it's going to be completely food forward because you're like the most food obsessed person I've ever met. And it was perfect, right? And I think it takes guts to reinvent like that, especially go from like...
Or desperation.
No,
like total desperation.
That too.
I wasn't necessarily looking to change.
Yeah.
I was forced to change.
Okay, but sometimes we have to be in those places in our lives with a really great glass of wine.
Yeah.
And then you
or
go for it, right?
Yeah.
So we're all here with you. So tell us a little more about like, where did the business go after this? Like, this is a really neat concept with the chef dinner. So how did that come to be? Like,
so the business essentially is, okay, if you're a Mainer or if you're somebody from away, but you want to experience the state and you want somebody who's a local who actually knows, like, the inns, the restaurants, the chefs, the oyster farmers, the whatever, that's what I set up. And so it's not like a listing service. It's, I do a consult with my clients, find out exactly what their personal interests and overall travel goals are, and curate the entire experience around their needs. So, and when I started my business, people said, oh, you're going to start your business. I get all this free advice. If you're a small business owner, everybody has all this free advice to give you. It's fun. When they don't invest in your business.
She's so not sarcastic.
Yeah,
Have you
when they
noticed that
invest
about her?
in, didn't invest a dime in the business, but you had all this advice to give me. I love it. It's awesome. So anyway, somebody said to me, and it was actually sage advice, and they said, you're going to start your business thinking it's just going to go this way.
Right.
But you're actually going to find that you have to, I hate the word pivot. We've used that word every day, right? Pivot,
Segue
pivot.
or
All right,
whatever,
you're going to have all these different things that you end up doing. And I was like, oh, well, let's see. So one of the things that ended up happening was Charlie Zorich and Kirk Linder moved from Portland, Oregon, and opened up this fantastic restaurant up in Stockton Springs, Maine. Moved from Portland, Oregon to Stockton Springs and opened up this awesome restaurant. Some of you may have heard of it, the Hitchborn. It's killer. If you haven't been there, you have to go. And so I went in and I had called them and I said, hi, I'm Vanessa from your Maine Concierge and I'm coming in for supper. Well, all these restaurants get these, people who think they're bloggers or influencers, and oh, we want a free meal, and we'll post a photo, and they have like 5 followers on social media, and they're looking for a free meal. And they said, so I go in and I order all this food, and they go, so how does this work? I go, I order, you feed me, I pay you at the end of the meal. I believe in actually paying for things so that I have an unbiased opinion and can really refer my clients to the things that I think are, worth their while. So anyways, so they were new, they had just opened, and I said, oh, would you be keen to meet like some of the chefs and your fellow like people in food and hospitality, and I'll invite some of my friends and we can have a nice dinner. You can do a 5-course dinner, set a price, and we'll come up. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, let's do that. Do it on a Monday. Nobody, does anything on Monday. And so they're like, okay. And I think they were like, oh,
Is this girl for real? Like,
yeah,
what's
no,
the
they
deal?
were like, oh, she's so full of something. And so anyway, so I invite, and all of these people come. It's Chef Melissa Kelly from Primo. It's Chef Keiko Suzuki Steinberger from Suzuki. It's Chef Carrie Altiero. It's Michael Boland and Deirdre Swords from Havana. They own half the restaurants up on Mount Desert Island. It was David Turin from David's. So all of these incredible people, chefs, restaurant owners, innkeepers, oyster farmers, cheese makers, some of the best, all came to this dinner, and I filled they were like, no, you have 28 people. We're good. And out of that evening, so that was just meant to be like, oh, this dinner. And out of that evening, after the end of it, we'd all had several glasses of wine at that point, and people were like, you have to do this. You have to do this now. This is now part of your business. So I started, that's how organically these private chef and hospitality dinners started, which really are these incredible evenings for anyone, whether you're a server, whether you're a dishwasher in a restaurant, whether you're an oyster farmer or farmer, a distiller, a brewer, anybody who's connected in some way to Maine's food and hospitality universe from all around the state to come together at these restaurants that I co-host with to break bread in a casual setting, to build relationships and strengthen them. And so the photo that you're seeing there now is our last one was coming full circle. Kirk and Charlie now own this gastro dive bar in Searsport. Again, Searsport, awesome. And you need to go, haven't been, awesome. And that was our 23rd one of these private chef and hospitality dinners, and over almost 1,000 people now from all over the state have come. So it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, everyone sitting here is like, how do I get on this list?
So it's funny because people, they say, these dinners look cool, and why can't we go? We work at, the Department of Labor, or we work, we work in whatever. And I go, okay, yeah, cool. So now we've got, now I do events with Maine Oyster Company, Kara Stadler from, Taoyuan,
Right.
Bao Bao, the Walkers and Buckhorn Sporting Camp. So now I have all these public events
Okay.
that are wicked cool culinary events that we do that the public can sign up for and come to. So it's taken on a life of its own, and it's awesome that it's really an honor that the chefs of these restaurants, these owners of these inns, all of these folks, and the people that come. Because honestly, it wouldn't even work without all
But
of
you know,
that.
it's interesting when you're a restaurateur or you're a chef, you're completely exhausted. You're working 100 hours a week. There's no time to go and create these amazing events, right? You can only hope everyone comes to your restaurant and focus on getting people into your restaurant. But to create these signature events, it takes someone like you who knows everyone in the business and knows how to bring them together.
Well, and the cool thing is that, the chefs who I know, they want to eat at these other restaurants,
Right.
and usually when they have a day off, those restaurants are closed and they have a day off. And so the idea was, oh, cool, you might have been hoping to go to this restaurant at some point, but it's a Monday and you're off and these guys are off, but they're going to do this event. So
Right.
it gives an opportunity for folks who work in the industry a million hours to go and have a cool night. And some of the partnerships and collaborations that have come out of these things are just, it's rewarding.
Give me
to
one
see.
of them. Tell us one of them. I wanna
Oh
hear.
my gosh. See, there's so many. Boutique oyster farmers that maybe don't have a statewide presence. Some people know some of the big oyster farms. But will meet chefs in a particular area of the state, and then now their oysters are being sold in their restaurant. Or cheesemakers who have wanted to have their cheeses sold in a specialty market or a gourmet food store. They meet, and now they're doing that. So those things are just really cool. And in addition to that, just the fact that now they have partnerships and relationships. I guess when somebody from the industry who's respected among their peers refers people to these other restaurants or these other breweries or these other distilleries, that their recommendation has a certain weight to it, and a validity to it that people can trust and feel like, oh man, okay, they like their food, I'm gonna like their food.
Right.
I'm gonna like their beer, I'm gonna like their, so yeah. So
It's almost like an insider industry supper club kind of a thing you've got going on.
yeah,
You know?
some people will
It's
be
kinda
like,
neat.
so what's the PowerPoint presentation? I'm like, no, I don't do that. No, we don't. We're not doing a PowerPoint. You come, you eat, drink cocktails, you eat, and you might
You
drink some
break
more
bread.
cocktails and
Yeah.
you have some fun. But
Yeah.
that's it.
But it's
I'm not
interesting
doing
that,
a PowerPoint.
Yeah, but you're creating a way for them to all do business, but with really with a really
Well,
no
the cool
agenda.
Thing,
You're
the cool
just there
thing
to,
is too is that there are people to have a dinner in Greenville, to have a dinner in Lubec, to have a dinner. So it's not just Portland. I love Portland. Everybody loves Portland, but it's oh, we have one in Bridgeton. That was the first one we had a fight at. That was fun.
Ooh, tell us about this. I thought we were talking about food, but we can
never
talk
had
about fights. We can talk about fights, Vanessa.
No, that was a good one. It's we had to come to Western Maine to have a fight. Oh, that was good. Okay. No, it was a fun night, and just somebody
Awesome.
just got escorted out, face first, out the door, thrown like a frisbee. It was an
Why don't we
interesting
have
evening.
photos of that, Vanessa?
Oh, I have some
What
photos
happened?
of that. I just
You're
didn't-
jipping us tonight. This
I-
is where
sorry.
all the really
Sorry,
good
left
stuff
those
is.
off the reel.
All right. Well, let's
right.
take a little segue for a minute. So let's talk about this amazing man. Tell us a little bit about your father.
So that's my dad. That's John Santarelli. I think I have a lot of his personality traits. He was a wonderful, he's not with us anymore. My father had just about every vice you can imagine, but he was a loving father. He was amazing, loved my sister and me to death, but he was a really, really talented chef. He and my grandparents owned multiple restaurants, and I got my love of food really in large measure because of being his daughter. He was also, my father, interestingly enough, so my father was from Manhattan, and my grandparents were from New York, and then they came to Maine. And they were hunters, fishermen. I mean, so we had this camp and all of this stuff up in Lincoln, which I know we're going to talk about. But he would take us fishing. We would get on ATVs. We would, my Nana shot any animal that came within 500 yards of her property. I mean, literally, we were eating that stuff. So he taught us a lot of the traditional Maine, what the Sportsman's Alliance of Maine would have loved my family, because it was generational passing down of the traditional Maine kinds of things, like fishing and hunting and foraging and gardening and all of that stuff. But he also loved to smoke 4 packs of cigarettes a day and drink, he liked to drink. And my father, interestingly enough, also ran some of the biggest illegal card games in the state. In fact, I had teachers in my high school who would come up to me after class and go, "So what time's that game at tonight?" I'm like, call my father and ask him. I'm not, running his card games for him. And did I get an A on that test?
Yeah, come on.
So yeah, it was an interesting life. So here was the cool thing about this, and I know it doesn't sound cool because it was illegal or whatever, but so he'd run illegal card games out of his house, and there was a circuit of people who were running these card games out of their houses for big money. This isn't, some lame card game where you're putting in $1. This is big money stuff, which, it was this underground economy in Maine.
Yeah.
Before we had casinos and all that stuff. And we'd go to the fair. We'd go to Windsor Fair. "Daddy, we want to go on the rides." "No, we're going to the track." It's okay. So because he was a chef, you'd go to these other card games and they'd serve gross ham salad, gross egg salad, stuff that was just sloppy. He'd make big stuffed lobsters and steaks, and so we'd always say, "I'm keeping the wolves from the door," because every hand that anyone around the table won, they put money in the pot. So even if he was playing, he was making money to support his family. So he had a restaurant in these games. Anyway, probably too much information, but that's all right. I had nothing to do with the running of those games.
I love it.
I was a kid, just sitting there, yeah.
Well, he sounds amazing, and I'm so glad we talked about him tonight because, we have these wonderful siblings in your life, so let's talk about...
Yeah, so that's my mother, Dawn Stiles, and my sister, Veronica. She's my younger sister. My mother is probably my first, my mother's amazing. She's still with us. My mother's incredible. My parents got divorced at a young age, and she, kind of was like a single mother, raised my sister and I. We would have our weekends with Dad and stuff like that, but she worked her ass off, quite frankly, waitressing, doing whatever she could, and every dime she earned was to support my sister and me. And then she got her master's degree and became the head of the largest mental health association in the state of Maine. She worked her way up through the Department of Health and Human Services and became the CEO of Spurwink, which probably people here in this room have heard of. But she's a phenomenal woman. She also, I know we're going to talk a lot about my dad's side of the family because it's all we do is talk about food, all we do is eat. My mother is a good cook in her own right. Excellent baker, excellent in so many ways, and I'm lucky to be your daughter.
Yeah, but she's not here tonight. She's in Florida.
She's in Florida. No, none of my family members are here. Yeah, my brother lives in the next town. I'm like, "You coming tonight?" "No." "Oh, thanks." He has to work. He has to work tomorrow. I get it.
All right. Well, maybe he'll show up for the after party.
There he is. I'm going to tell you right now. Yeah.
All right.
He lives
after
in
party.
Waldeboro.
He's
Stop by
got
his
time.
house
There's
on
your
the way
beautiful
home.
mom and George. George is her husband right now, right?
Yeah, and George Campbell. George has been the mayor of Portland, the city manager of Greenville, Maine. He was a farmer. He has been DOT commissioner in New Hampshire and Maine.
And he's on the board of Main Street Music Theater.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
yes,
on the
yes,
board.
he is.
Yeah.
George does everything, and he and my mother, that's a photo at the Islesford Dock out on Little Cranberry Island.
Oh,
We had
beautiful.
a private chef and hospitality dinner out there, and that was phenomenal.
Beautiful
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about this quaint little slice of heaven here. A lot of memories
that
here.
was our family camp in Lincoln, Maine on Long Pond, which was right down the road from the house that my grandparents, Guido and Giovanna, built. My father won that camp in a poker game, you'll be shocked to hear. Totally, applause.
I love your
for that. Where's my applause sign? Yeah,
Where's your sign?
so this camp is, you know, it was like one of these rustic camps. So we went there almost every weekend. I caught my first 4.5-pound smallmouth bass out in front of that with that
Nice.
green boat there out in the lake. And we used to, I mean, that camp is filled with so many memories. I mean, you know.
You got
yeah.
beautiful views here too.
And that, yeah, and that's the view, Togus Pond in Augusta, where I grew up. My grandparents, on my mother's side, Harold Durrell and Janet Durrell, so we were living in Section 8 housing, actually, in Augusta as a child. And my grandparents had a house on Togus Pond, and it's in Augusta, this magical place. It's gorgeous. Everybody wants to, you know, trash on Augusta, and I get really angry when people do that because it's my hometown, and it's an awesome town, and everybody who can, you know, wants to say something about Augusta can come see me because it's awesome. They had a tragic, when I was a child, they had a house fire, and my grandparents were outside of the house. My grandmother went in to save the animals, and she ended up dying in the house fire, which was, you know, obviously tragic and awful. So my father and my family built our home that I ended up growing up in out on the end of Albee Road, and we still have that house to this day. And you know, when you're a kid, to be able to grow up in a place where you can swim and, you know, have trails in the woods and have this place. I used to say to my mother, why can't we live in town? All my friends are in town. She's like, you know, someday you're going to look back and be glad that you have a house on a lake.
There we
And
go.
there
We're
we
looking
are.
back.
So,
This
yes,
is good.
Yes.
But that's why I'm like fascinated with your life, because you've actually lived in Maine. Like, you get it. It's in your DNA. It's not like you just kind of, you know.
Nobody thinks I'm from Maine. I go everywhere. They look, you look like you're from Manhattan. I go, why?
Yeah.
Because I have dark hair and I wear, like, you know, black coat sometimes. I don't know what it is, but I am totally from Maine, born on this soil. I was the first baby born in Augusta in 1978. Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. I'm from Maine.
Nice. Yeah, so tell us about this great shot. Who do we have here? We
So
got
my grandparents, Guido and Giovanna Santarelli, with their business partners. So, you know, picture, I don't know what year that was. That was like in the 1950s or something. They used to fly up, whatever they did. I don't know what they used to do back then. But they used to come, they somehow found Maine.
Yeah.
And they owned, I mean, so they owned these, they bought these sporting camps in the Katahdin Valley in the middle of a lake, Middle and Lower Joe Mary Lakes. The Buckhorn sporting camps are on this island. You can only get there by boat, seaplane, or snowmobile. And they owned these camps. So we had our camp, which you'd shown. I used to hear from them. That's Guido and Jen. See, she's got her Hunter Orange on there, ready to kill any animal that
my
comes within,
goodness.
like, you know, 5 inches from, you know, the end of her shotgun. I'm telling you right now. You know,
Venison
she's
for
ready
breakfast, lunch,
she's ready
and
to go, lock and load over there. So they own these sporting camps, and we used to hear about, oh, these are the best, this is the best place on earth, and my sister and I never got a chance to go. So lo and behold, last year, and this is the craziest, I mean, this is Maine, right? So I get this direct message on Facebook, and this woman goes, are you a Santarelli that's related to Guido and Giovanna Santarelli that used to own the Buckhorn sporting camps? I saw your grandfather's obituary that had your name in it, and we are now the owners of these camps. We would like to invite you and Paul to come up to see them. And I was like, it just immediately, like, I just had this wave of emotion come over me, because it was like this immediate connection. So, of course, I said, yes, of course we want to come up.
Yeah.
And so we go up, and it was like the second I stepped foot on the property, that table my grandfather built. And there's so many things, like I walked in not I had no idea. And we're eating dinner, and I'm looking at the table, and it was the exact same table that was in my grandparents' house that we used to eat all of these dinners. So I was like sobbing, like, a baby. And the fieldstone fireplace they had in the main lodge, all these features that were there. It was like their presence was completely surrounding us the entire time. It was really cool. And I wish that they and my dad were still around, because now I am partnering with Buckhorn and Chef Justin Walker and Daniel Johnson Walker. We do this Northern Maine culinary event now, and people pay, and they come, and chef cooks on the open hearth, and we do all this wood-fired cooking, and it's like
I love the deer there you and
Oh
Paul.
yeah, I'm sure my Nana tagged that one. She had, if you came into the house, there was not one space on the wall. We used every part of that animal. We ate venison, the lamps, the bottoms of the lamps were the hoofs from the deer. I mean, rabbit, rabbit, everything. I mean, we were very lucky. It was very cool. But I'll tell you what, like we're eating breakfast one morning, and she sees an animal coming out of the woods, and she runs, grabs her rifle, and is like this right out the window, and is like firing from the kitchen.
And how old were
trying
you?
to shoot stuff out the window. My entire life. Yeah.
All right. Well, so that's that beautiful.
That place,
beautiful
and
camp.
I'm telling you right now. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's
That
good.
Buckhorn camps. In the Katahdin region, it's in the unorganized territory. You want to not hear from your boss. You want to get away. You don't want to hear from people. You have no cell reception. You want to go and have a peaceful vacation. You really, it's unlike. It's
off the grid.
It's so awesome. Yeah. Go.
That's so awesome. And I want to sit at your grandfather's table.
And it's dog friendly. Yes.
Yeah.
And you want to sit
I want to sit at
yes.
that table. That's for sure.
Yes.
All right. So there you are, looking out at that view, having a moment of Maine magic.
Yeah. I mean.
Love it. What a beautiful
come
spot.
on. We live in
now,
the best
who
state in the
actually
country.
built that? Was that your grandfather?
No,
too?
I don't know if they
okay.
built. Those camps have been passed down, different generations
Yeah.
to different owners.
Neat.
And I'm wicked proud because I partner with a bunch of sporting camps, in different regions in the state. And the great thing is, I'll get clients to be like, "Well, we're not hunters or we're not fishermen," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it doesn't matter now, right? The sporting camps are for hikers and people who just literally want to immerse themselves in nature, and they're right. So it's like,
Totally.
go. I mean, you don't have to hunt, you don't have to fish, you don't have to snowmobile. Cool if you do.
Yeah.
But
Just go and
just
experience
go.
it. Yeah. So who's this little sweet fella?
That's my
Aw.
baby. Oh gosh, that's Camden. He's my baby. He was my baby. I've had lots of fur babies. He was my traveling companion for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's sweet. And Derek Bissonette, who
He's a great food photographer. So
amazing
yeah.
food photographer, former chef at the White Barn Inn, just amazing cookbook author, but his photography. So Aaron O'Valley, who
Yep.
I work with on Maine, I see. So Lost Kitchen, you know their process, right? You got to send in a postcard if you want to eat there. So I was like, there's no way they are not going to accept my postcard if I put my dog on there. And so I stamp them on everything. I got in. Yeah.
You got
Camden
in.
got me in.
He
Yeah.
got you
Yeah.
in. Sweet little boy. Okay. All right, so who's this sweet little boy? You got all these sweet boys in
He's
your
older
life.
than me. He's not little. That's Paul. That's my boyfriend.
And our sommelier for the night.
And our sommelier for the night.
And the sommelier at?
He's the sommelier
Sorry.
and bartender at Primo Restaurant, and
Nice.
He's wonderful. And so this photo is funny. So Paul's very humble. He's an artist. He's a brilliant artist, and he's also he used to be a cyclist, and he actually used to race bikes. I know he'd hate that word right now. I'm sure it's called criterions or whatever they call it. And So we're on e-bikes and we're going into the carriage trails, and this is like our first time doing it, and which if you haven't done it, like you have to do this, right? Like all these people who have real bikes are like looking at us like all pissed off because like we have the e-bikes and we're like cruising up the hills and the mountains, and they're like, you know, dying, like trying to get up the mountain. So I'm behind him, and he sees this person who think, you know, they're a serious like cyclist. And you can see him just like honcho, like he's like now in race mode. And I'm like, you're on an e-bike. And he's like, you know, following him like in the tailwind and then like doing this move. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, so anyway, so that's Paul.
And Paul's having a birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, Paul.
Paul's birthday's tomorrow. This is him acting crazy at the Bear Mountain Inn. I mean,
this is great. It's
great
to have
a similar sense of humor and a similar love of a lot of, you know,
adventure.
things. And,
It's awesome. So basically, we've met everybody that's in your family at this point, right? From the dog to Paul. So it was great because it's important because family really is where it all starts for us, right? In food. So tell us about all your food memories now.
We don't have enough time.
All right, we got an after party, the show's over, let's go, where's the raffle bucket? Okay, but we can go through these quickly. So I can tell that you're making
I make the best meatballs. I don't care if you're a Michelin star chef. I make the best meatballs. My family recipe meetballs.
But you do something different with them, so tell us what you do versus...
Well, no, I mean, you know, you bake them. You're not supposed to fry them, you bake them. I know, I'm gonna hear from this. I'm gonna hear from people about it, I'm sure. But I bake them.
Okay.
And my sauce is killer. That's the Guido roll, so that's just, you know, if you've ever had a calzone.
Is it deep fried though?
It's deep fried, of course, you know. I mean, my family loved, if there was fat involved or alcohol involved or something involved, they liked it. So yeah, and then like broccoli rabe on a chicken cutlet sandwich with garlic bread. Oh yeah.
Or if it was your grandmother venison.
Venison cutlet sandwiches, going fishing all the time.
Yeah.
That's
this looks
so
good.
variation on traditional shrimp scampi. I also make the best shrimp scampi. I don't care how pedestrian it sounds. I make the best.
Have you told Melissa Kelly these things? Have you told her how good you are at your meatballs and shrimp scampi? Yeah. All right, we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. Okay.
No.
And what's this
French
yumminess?
toast.
Oh,
Well,
French
that
toast.
was actually an episode of Maine Life, but my Nana taught me how to make the best French toast, and Aaron cheats on all of the cooking show episodes, and I actually make things from scratch. So I made that dish. Kate Fisher Ham, who owns Sweet Woodruff Provisions and is the just recently James Beard nominated pastry chef from Leeward, Maine.
Oh, that's right.
Was the judge of this competition. Aaron cheated. I clearly won. She wanted to keep eating mine. If a pastry chef that's James Beard nominated wants to eat my pain perdu, I'm happy, and Aaron cheated.
You're
That's
such
all
a
I need
show
to-
off.
Yeah,
You're such a
that's
show
it.
off.
She
Okay,
cheated.
so we're going to take a quick, pivot, Vanessa.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the mentors in the life, the people in your life who've like shaped you to who you are today, other than your family.
Oh my gosh.
So who do we have here?
I mean, okay, so two of my best friends, two of the greatest mentors ever. So I've been blessed in my life to have incredible women mentors my entire stretch. So starting with my mother and my Nana. But this is Laura Fortman, Commissioner of the Maine Department of Labor, who's in the crowd tonight. Give it up for Laura! And Jane Gilbert, who is Deputy Commissioner, and I wish Jane was here. Jane is the coolest person ever. Laura graciously appointed me her legislative liaison back a ways, and it was an important role because Laura also was the former executive director of the Maine Women's Lobby and the Maine Women's Policy Center, and I looked up to her. She actually scared me first time I ever met her, and like I used to have to set up these meetings for this other organization that I used to work for, and Laura is so serious, and I used to call her and like, when you used to call a, like if you liked someone when you were in like high school, you'd like dial the number and then like hang up several times. Yeah. So I used to get nervous because I was in awe of her, and then she scared me, and then I was like, okay. And then she used to be like, why are you calling me about these meetings? I'm not coming. She'd hang up. No, but she really,
Okay,
Jane,
but how did she shape you?
No, yeah.
I know she scared the living life out of you. How did you shape her?
Always,
Okay.
first of all, like one of the most inspiring policy leaders in, not just in Maine, but honestly in the country, and the things that I learned from her and from Jane, and sitting in, being able to share and like observe and learn from them were instrumental into who I am today. And I would not be who I am today without them and some of the other women mentors my entire professional career, but I also had a lot of fun with them. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, they're brilliant, and I miss them every day. Our office environment was a lot of fun. And
did I tell you that I do the same thing with you? Like, I call and I hang up because you scare me. And like, I can see all the influence. No, I'm just kidding, Laura. No, but no, seriously. I think it's wonderful that you have like those female mentors, and that, they've kind of shaped your experience, because now you're an entrepreneur, you're leading your own business. You don't realize how one connects with the other, but that kind of stuff sticks with you.
Yeah, and I get to work for nonprofit, state government, and also now in the private sector. So it's a nice opportunity to have perspectives on all sides.
Yeah. Now, I know that you have another family in Maine, and some of them are in the house tonight, because these are your posse, right? This is like your
yeah. So I mean, when I left the Maine Department of Labor, I moved to New Hampshire for. I resigned from the Maine Department of Labor too. You'll be shocked to hear. I cashed out my retirement, went to New Hampshire for a professional experience. I was director of public policy down there, and then when I moved back to Maine. Part of the decision-making process was, where am I going to be able to, eat well and enjoy a community that has all these things to offer? And of course, I love my hometown of Augusta, but I'll never forget, like, going to Primo Restaurant and having, it was one of the restaurants that had the squash blossom stuffed with cheese and fried, and my Nana used to make that dish. And there were a lot of dishes that Chef Melissa Kelly, who is obviously a great friend of mine, had on the menu. And so part of the reason why, when I moved back to Maine, I moved to Rockland, which in my opinion is one of the best. Everybody's like, why don't you live in Portland? Why don't you do? No, I like Rockland. Rockland has a dynamic food scene. It has a supportive food culture, arts culture. The community supports one another. When a chef's off, I don't care which chef you're talking about in town, which I'm friends with a bunch of them, and I'm very fortunate to say that they're going to the other chef's restaurant to support them. And that type of sense of community means a lot. Damascotta thinks a lot the same way. You see business owners, Jamie and Penn are over here. They own a couple businesses in town, Sea Smoke Shop, Wicked Scoops. They're always posting things about other businesses. That's Maine is awesome that way.
Yeah, that's the main way.
And so I love, when I moved to Rockland, I used to go to Primo. I'd sit at the bar. You'll be shocked to hear. And the rumor that was going around Primo was I was there to meet a guy.
And I think, did you meet a guy?
Well, no.
Paul?
Oh, no, that was, no.
Later.
No, that was later.
Yeah.
But like, I'm cruising men at Primo. I mean, come on, really? Yeah, I'm totally doing that. Totally. And Aaron Huffnagel, who was one of the bartenders there at the time, went to the staff and said, she's ordering 6 courses and eating them all. Do you think she's here to meet anyone? She's here to eat. And it's like, and so from then on out, it was like, okay, yeah, Vanessa's here to eat. And so I started inviting myself to, the summer outings. I just would show up.
The pig roast,
the pig
everything.
Day, the holiday party, the after season.
Totally crashing.
Everybody thought I worked there.
Yeah.
I mean, I might as well have.
Yeah.
The cab drivers all thought that I worked there because I'd leave my car there. They'd pick me up in the morning and they'd be like, so what time is the restaurant open? I'm like, I don't actually work there. They're like, no, but we drive you there every morning. I'm like, yeah, because I'm responsible. I went home last night with another one of your fine colleagues, and now I'm getting my ride back to my car.
You know the name of the show is Talking Food in Maine, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm just kidding. So,
yes,
no,
but I mean,
but it's the sense of community, right? That's
100%,
what Primo,
100%.
Yeah.
So this is awesome.
So tell us about this.
I mean, to people in the audience, that's a morel mushroom, right? So these are fancy.
Where do you find them, though?
Fancy. I mean, you never tell, right, where you find these things. But, so my Nana was a wicked mushroom forager. Like, before it was cool and before anybody was, like, doing that stuff up here, she was actually written up in the local newspaper up in Maine, up in Lincoln. And when she didn't know, like, what a mushroom varietal was, she'd actually mail the sample to the University of Maine to actually learn about it. So she wasn't college educated, but this woman like knew her stuff. So I was weed whacking one day in my pajamas outside and hit one of these things, and I was like, that is a morel mushroom on my property.
In Rockland.
In Rockland.
Yeah.
Well, no, in Damerscott.
Oh, Damerscott.
Yeah. No, in Rockland.
Yeah.
But I was collecting these mushrooms, and so I was posting them. Look, I got these morels, and everybody was like, "Where'd you get those?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not telling you where they." So I brought some to Chef MK, and I'm sitting at the bar, and all of a sudden this dish comes up, and it's my morel. So I'm sorry, I was just like losing my mind because she prepared my mushrooms in a dish that she served me at Primo with my mushrooms. So I was like, I'm a mushroom forager. I am awesome now. And I'm eating a dish with my mushrooms.
Like garden to table.
It was awesome.
You even upped Melissa Kelly with the farm to table.
I
You
actually,
went garden
I
to
dressed
table.
like her for one of the, anybody who goes to Primo on Halloween, the whole staff
I know,
dresses
Santa
up.
party.
And I dressed up like her. And the staff actually thought I was her and was coming up to me and calling me chef. And it was awesome. And then she came up and served me a dish at the table and called me chef. And so it was like full circle for me. It was pretty good.
Totally.
Yeah,
Love
that was
Melissa.
good.
Yeah. So Melissa had quite some stories to tell me about you too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we talked about you right here on this table. She was
I-
here about 2 years ago. So.
Yeah, I was here. I was
Yeah, I
in
know
the
you were
crowd.
out
That was
there.
fun.
Yeah.
But I have to
talk
say,
about full circle.
I have to,
Yeah.
100%. But I have to say, you know, the chefs in Maine, the people that I get to work with, whether they're cheesemakers or innkeepers or whoever, I'm just really, there's so many kind, generous people, and my business would not be anywhere near successful without these people. When I started, nobody knew what Your Maine Concierge was. The way I marketed my business, because marketing's expensive and I had no money, was I went to inns and said, hey, New Ag and Seaside Inn, you have a reputation, people know you. How about this? I'll refer clients to you. I'm not a travel agent, so I won't take a fee for bookings. But if you put my logo, link, and description of my services somewhere on your website, then that's a trade for me that would be beneficial to me because you already have an established reputation. So I would start getting clients who would start to go to 16 Bayview, I go to the Blair Hill Inn, all these inns that have this incredible reputation, and I would say, I'm not going to ever ask you for any money for booking clients with you or referring clients to you. Would you just put my little suitcase logo on your website somewhere? You don't have to do anything else. And because people would start seeing that suitcase, whatever, on all these different hotel websites, it built credibility for a brand that nobody knew anything about. So that's...
It's called grassroots marketing, and you are a champion of that, my friend. Brilliant. All right. Well, look at that delicious steak there. Was that a Primo? Yeah, of course. Okay. So we do know that you love Primo, and there's the family.
That's me, crashing another
crashing the party.
Primo event. Yeah. I do that with a lot of restaurants, though. I just show up at things.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You're part of the family. So tell us about this whole collaboration with the fabulous Erin Navali and Maine Life Media. How did that come about?
Oh my gosh.
Because everybody else was wondering about the same thing. It's like she's got this great show, and then all of a sudden you're co-hosting with her, and you're setting up her itinerary. And how did that collab come around?
Didn't start out where, Erin's one of my best friends now, and it's funny because we're so different, but we're wicked similar too. She's one of the smartest businesswomen I know, and I'm wicked fortunate to partner with her. So she had Maine Life Media established. She had the Maine Life show. And my stepfather ended up seeing her at the Cumberland Club, and somehow they got to talking. And she was going to start a business similar to mine, and her husband said, there's already something like this out there. It's called Your Maine Concierge. And so my stepfather said, you really ought to talk to my stepdaughter, Vanessa. And so anyway, that's how we initially had a conversation, and she called me and we talked, and she said, well, you're from Maine, you know parts of the state, you know these businesses. Do you want to just put together one itinerary for one episode? Just give me a place to stay, a place to recreate, a place to eat, and then we'll see how it goes. And I had no idea I was going to be invited to be a part of the show, and the first episode I ever put together was up in Patton in the village of Mount Chase Lodge sporting camp. We went snowmobiling with Shin Pond Village and the Shin Pond Pub, which is legend and awesome. And so Erin comes into the lodge and it's like a blizzard outside, and it was like kind of our first time getting to know one another on camera. And she says, "Are we that place that kind of looks a little bit run down and it's kind of, down the road? Is that where we're having dinner? Is that?" I said, "Yeah, and it's awesome." And she's like, "Okay." And so we're just, we just get along so well. We have a lot of fun. See, here we have Erin featured on her best photogenic side. She didn't care what side, my best photogenic side. She will literally stop production and go, "No, Vanessa, move to the other side so that she can get her best side." Oh yeah, that's Erin.
Love it. I love it. and there's your both best sides.
That's me.
Yeah, totally.
That's our Halloween episode. She was pregnant with her little sweet baby.
Berg, yeah. So
And
sweet.
I was dressed up as her. That was our first episode together, reading Maine fishing laws and drinking wine. She brought a box of wine up to northern Maine, which I found fascinating. I brought nice wine.
Right.
She goes, "Do you want to tap the bag?" I'm like, "Are we back in Augusta? What are we doing? Are we the gardener now?" Like, she's like literally funneling wine from a bag into her mouth.
So why do people love the show so much? Tell us what it is about the show that people just love.
I don't know. I think we don't take ourselves too seriously. Bill Green was an icon, so Erin's show was at 7:30. Bill Green's Maine, who everybody knows. I mean, Bill Green's, brilliant trailblazer in that space. But our show's different than his, and so when he retired, the network moved us into his time slot. I think. I don't know what it is. I mean, I think that our personalities work really well on camera together, but I also think that Mainers, so there's like this thing. Everybody said, if you're from Maine or from Texas, you always talk about where you're from. Like, "I'm from Maine." It's like, "Hi, my name is whatever." No, "Hi, I'm from Maine." Or, "Hi, I'm from Texas." Like, it was always like this thing about the pride from the place where you're from. And Mainers will watch Maine Life, because Maine is so important. Maine is such a part of who Mainers are. Like, it's
our identity. It's like
100%.
literally identity. Yeah.
And so I think people love to watch it because, and if they have some connection to one of the segments, it's automatic.
Yeah. I've seen social media explode over those
And people would be
moments,
like, "Oh my
right?
God, that's so cool." Like, if you don't have money to pay somebody like me to set up an experience, you can watch the show. I mean, like, literally we get people, we literally did the entire show. Like, we followed your itinerary from the show and did it with our family. We have lived in this town that's next to this town where you guys were at, and we didn't even know about this restaurant, and now we go.
Yeah.
And like, innkeepers will say, "The show is on and our phone is ringing off the hook now." And like, for us, that is so rewarding, like, just to hear that. So, and we're wicked grateful. We don't take it for granted. It means a lot to us.
But what does it mean to you when you have somebody write to you and tell you that you really have to fix your hair?
I love it. I love it.
So tell us how that really affected
Love
you,
it. I
Vanessa.
actually, okay, so like, I'm not even kidding. So
You want to see her mad? Like, you need to see this girl
Oh
mad
no,
on
I
Facebook.
was hurt, and then
You
I was
were
like pissed
mad.
off.
You
Yeah.
were mad.
But then
So
I was
tell us
like, "You're a
about it.
loser. You didn't even sign your name to these cards." So
tell us what happened.
I get fans. I get awesome fans occasionally. No, the vast majority of people are
really
so
nice,
generous
yeah.
and wicked support. So, but I was at the mail one day, and I'm like, "Oh, look, cool postcard," and they're like, "Hey, Vanessa, we love Maine Life, but your hair and your clothes, you really need to work on it. You look like you're kind of from Maine." And I'm like,
The show is called Maine Life.
yeah,
Media.
exactly.
Yes,
And I'm
right.
like, "Where's the return address on this one? I don't see it." So I said, "Erin, can we please do a segment on the show called Fan Corner, where we have the trolls who message us over social media and like send us things. Because like, can you even imagine writing out an actual postcard and mailing it because you have no life and sending it to somebody saying, your hair and your makeup needs some friggin' work? Like, I don't know. So I said, you know how Jimmy Kimmel has the celebrities read the tweets about how awful they are? Yes. I said, please, can we just do this? It would be so awesome. And she's like, no. She ruins all the fun. Anyway, so yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But
I
mean, honestly, I hope I look like I'm from Maine, because I am from Maine, and I am proud to be from Maine, and I don't care about like any of that. And so like, yeah, I look like I'm from Maine.
Mic drop.
That's it. I don't care.
Mic drop. Love it.
No, I'm not getting glammed up. I'm not on Bravo, although Bravo should do a show in Maine, and I'm hoping that happens.
Now, have you ever gotten a postcard about your car, Vanessa?
Okay, this
Can
is
we
awesome.
please talk about that
this
car?
Is awesome.
It showed up in my driveway and I couldn't see the car. I was like,
right.
where's the car?
That's right. It's awesome.
So tell us about it. And it's sitting next to a Rolls Royce that belongs to Paul Cologne.
So when you're trying not to be seen, you put stickers all over it. Paul Cologne, who's the owner of the Boothbay Harbor Country Club, he's a great guy and he has a good sense of humor. So we were filming with him, and he hadn't met me yet. And Aaron's like, okay, we'll just go in. I'm running 10 minutes late. So I drive up and I pull up right next to his white convertible Rolls Royce at the country club with all my stickers on it. And you could see Paul like open the door and was just looking out, like wondering what in the actual hell is going on. Who let this person pass the gate? And so it was just, I said, I have to take photos of my car next to, it was like, Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack had that Rolls Royce. I just was like, it's just awesome.
But I think it's kind of like a frame in the contrasts of Maine. Like, this is Maine, right? You get all the experiences in Maine, everything. You can get the fine dining, the truffles, the caviar, but then you can also get like delicious beef on a hearth, just like that whole experience.
So that's the thing is like when I set up my services, people are like, you're not charging enough. Like why do you have a level that's $20 a day or whatever? It's like, because I don't want my services, people who want a great Maine experience, I don't want it to just be for affluent people. I want it to be accessible to anyone. And so that was important to me when I started my business, and it's still important to me. And I'm grateful to have partnerships with people who, and these are the Maine Clammers. I'm a friend of the Clammers, and the guy actually next to me, Chad Coffin. So the bat that I'm holding, interestingly enough, so this is another full circle moment, is we went clamming with these folks. They were lobbying up at the State House back when I used to work at the State House, and they gave me a bat that said friend of the Clammers. I don't know why they needed a bat in the State House to try to influence votes, but I took it and I brought it with me. I still had it. I brought it with me when we went clamming with them over on the flats over by Wolf Neck Farm, which was fun.
So like if I wanted to sign up for something like that and just say like it's on my bucket list, do I just call Vanessa?
Yeah, call me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. And you get stuck in the mud.
Do I get a bat too?
I can give you,
See, you just figured out some swag right there. You
we know wood turners. I mean, Paul walked up in this, I don't know if you saw it, this gorgeous,
Paul, you want to stand up and model for us?
Gorgeous jacket.
Beautiful.
There is Tony Shirt Makers, if you're not familiar with these guys, in Damascotta. Tailor-made garments, shackets, shirts. In this town, one of the finest tailors in the whole country, and amazing. I mean, we have so many talented people here. You could, I could bore everybody all day. I mean, it's just with talking about how many amazing people we have in the state. It's amazing.
So let's talk about this amazing lobster roll. Like there's about 900 of them in this state, but this one got you 1,000 likes.
This is so lame that I care about this, yeah. Because before I had Your Maine Concierge, I never did social media. I was like, I'm never going on Facebook, I'm never going on Instagram. And again, Chris Cass was like, you're gonna start, I knew I had to do it, and I was like dreading it, and Chris is like, you're gonna have to do 2 posts at least every day or every other day. I'm like, there's no way I'm ever gonna do that. And if you follow my Instagram, you see like I'm posting photos of food all the time.
Like I literally don't know how you eat that much, Vanessa. Like, I look at it morning and night. I'm like, she just chowed. She's chowing again. I'm like, how do you do it? Like, it's amazing. And you're driving all over the state, and
So
every
that
nook
was-
and cranny.
And that was
Okay.
at Five Islands, which
5 Islands,
everybody,
right.
5 Islands, I mean, come on, like insane, gorgeous location, iconic, and that lobster roll. I've posted lobster rolls from everywhere. I mean, I love McClune's. I mean, there's so many lobster shacks, Shaw's. I mean, Robinson's Wharf. There's so many that I love. And the fact that I just had my hand up and it got 1,000 likes on Instagram, and I was like, why does that matter to me? That's so lame. But I did.
But it was a moment for you,
It
because
was
you
a
weren't into the
moment.
whole social
Oh
media
my God.
thing, you know.
It's so stupid.
So here's a really delicious hot dog, a few minutes up here on Route 1,
That's from the Moody
right?
Dog in
Yep.
Belfast. I mean, of course, I love Wass's. I mean, there's so many, there's so many great hot dog stands. But if you haven't had a Moody Dog in Belfast, then you probably should just leave right now and head up there. No.
Okay, so what makes it so special to you?
Because she gets that right char on that hot dog. It's like, it has that, it's crispy.
Nice crunch, like
Crispy.
crispy, okay.
And then, I'm so excited.
Did she deep fried the hot dog?
No, I don't think she deep fried that one, but that's a Chicago style dog. So it's, it's got the mustard and the hots and the tomatoes and the poppy seeds and the
Doesn't look like
mustard.
a Maine hot dog. Like it's
look
got her
at that,
stamp
the
on
pickle.
it.
Oh yeah. But she
yum.
does all different kinds of variations, and she sets herself up. She has a food truck, but she also is at Marshall Wharf Brewing, which if you haven't been to Marshall Wharf's spot where Three Tides used to be down on the waterfront. Come on, like.
You thought about writing a book or something? Like,
No, everybody writes a book. I just want to eat.
you just drink wine and do
And
talks?
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. We'll get to that at some point. So tell us about this delicious scene right here. I
Yeah.
want that steak by that fire.
So
with
what's
that view.
awesome, right, so I partner with, Beyond the Inns and this is again, so there's luxury and then there's the registered Maine guides, and I'm really proud that I get to partner with real registered Maine guides. And so Maine Guides Unlimited is John Peterson from Peterson Guide Service, and Songo River Guide Service, and then Jordan Rentals, which we're at one of their properties there on Sebago Lake in front of the sandbar. And this property's funny because everybody wants to stay here, but in the summer there's a sandbar right there, and apparently all the boats come in and they party it's 1999 out there. So then when people rent their properties, they're like, oh, we want a nice quiet lakefront property, and then all these people converge on the sandbar out there, which you can see right out there.
Yeah.
It's a cool
Yeah,
party
yeah, yeah.
spot. But anyway, so these guides that I partner with will actually take you out for a half day or a full day, either regular fishing excursion or an ice fishing excursion. And if you do a full day experience with them, they cook on open fire. And one of the cool things about them, so he partners with, I think it's Bristol Seafood. He did the most amazing, fried fish as a starter. He does a camp coffee that he makes with an egg. And because of the shell, the shell makes the coffee. He cooks this coffee in this really, I've never seen it before. It makes the coffee smooth.
Wait, so he makes coffee in an eggshell?
He takes an egg, cracks the egg into coffee grounds and water over fire, and because of the way that there's a layer in the eggshell that makes the nature of the coffee really smooth, and they call it guide coffee or Maine camp coffee. So
super
it's just
creamy coffee?
Yeah, I mean
That
it's
sounds amazing.
So
I want
yeah,
to try that.
it's awesome. So anybody who's never gone fishing in Maine should just go out with a registered Maine guide, because they'll have the most cool.
See,
it's
this
so
is what I
fun.
want. I need a Vanessa in my life. I just need you to take
I'm in
all
your
this.
life.
You are at my table too. But I mean, I really need you to plan my vacation, Vanessa, because I would never know all of this.
We're going up.
I
We
would just,
talked about we're going snowmobiling, and
Have you told my husband this?
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to talk to
because-
him. Guy
okay,
will
good.
find out.
Yeah, Guy
later.
will find out. All right, so tell us about this
Oh
crazy
my
cool
God.
pancake thing going on here.
Yeah.
What's this?
Souffle pancakes.
Souffle pancakes.
So
Where's that? Where did you find that?
So I don't know if y'all have been. Wow, I just sounded like I'm from Alabama or something. Y'all. I said y'all. Okay. So in Bethel, Maine is Les Mieux Eats. Chef Sav is Laotian, and he has this amazing food truck that they now just moved into their physical location, and they also had owned a place called Munoy Brunch which was in Auburn, and all they did was like brunch all day. But now that they have their own physical location in Bethel, on Sundays they do brunches. But there's these souffle pancakes are like the most Instagrammable, right? These are the Fruity Pebble souffle pancakes. They all do a different variation. These pancakes, I mean.
They just like melt in your mouth, like
cut it out. Like it's just so good. All the food they make, hot nudes, those are noodle dish with like spices, and their banh mi sandwiches, their angry rooster, which is a curry fried chicken sandwich that's like this big. I mean,
yeah.
So
do you
good.
want some free advice, Vanessa?
Yes.
Can I give her free advice? Can you
Yes.
please put an app together? Just do it, Vanessa.
I don't know how to do that.
I'll hook you up with some techie people.
I don't know
Just
how
put
to
an app
do it.
together. Come on, we got to get this, right, guys? Do you guys want an app?
No, they want
to. Boom, done. All right, and we'll pay you a fee too. We'll give you. Oh my God, we missed something there. Looks like a coconut something.
Oh my God.
Cream pie.
Does anybody know what that is? You all know what that is, right? That's the coconut cream pie at the Hitchborn.
Oh.
So
yum. I
Kirk
heard
and
about
Charlie make, when it comes to the table, you know, it's, you can't, like if they set it here, I could barely see the top of your head. Like it's, I mean, it's,
Wow.
yeah, it's the most decadent. So the funny story is, so this pie is legend now. And they had a full house one night in the summer, and they always have extra slices of coconut cream pie because everybody who now goes to the restaurant orders it.
Right.
If you don't order it, you're not even there. Like it doesn't
Right.
matter.
Yeah.
And they literally had the last customer, they ran out of pie. Like you're the last customer in the restaurant, they literally ran out, they had no more slices, and the person went ballistic. Like said that they ruined the person's vacation,
Wow.
their entire vacation, because they couldn't get a slice of pie. I mean, they were not happy
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
But if you, anywhere in the vicinity of the Hitchborn, sometimes they'll allow you to order them in advance, and that pie
Do they
is-
ship this stuff? Do they ship it out?
I don't think so,
Like
because you can't,
frozen or-
yeah, I don't
no?
think so, but just get it.
It looks amazing.
It's so
It's amazing, yeah. All right, so we have to talk about the ugly person in the room, which is COVID.
Yeah.
So tell us how you pivoted through all of this, and you know, really kind of, you were an advocate during COVID. I would just watch you on Facebook thinking, I'm too scared to leave the house, and this girl is literally all over the state of Maine with her mask on, with no income coming in, supporting every dive, every corner, every nookie taco place, just trying to make sure you kept them alive on social. And that was brilliant. Like I was so touched by how much you just moved this state forward at a time when we literally come to a standstill and shut doors. So,
Well, that's very generous of you to say, but, and I feel like I played a small role. I think that I really was incredibly proud to be a Mainer at that moment because Mainers really showed up, I think, for not just, whether it was healthcare workers or whether it was first responders or whether it was food and, hospitality people. Okay, so yeah, how many restaurants, that photo I just think says a lot, right? It was during COVID, that's Jane, I love her. But like for the restaurant and the sign says open and she's looking there to the side with her mask on because so many restaurants and other businesses had to close, and Shin Pond Pub was one of these places that had to close. There's so many, Spruce Mill Farm Kitchen, Dover Foxcroft, that's Long Lake Sporting Club. There were places that, there were a lot of businesses, as all of you know, in populated areas that closed during that time period, and it was devastating and it was awful. And particularly, I think, acute was the pain that was caused by places that closed in these really rural areas, because in some cases they were the only place that was serving food or drinks or was a community hub for people to come to. And it was really emotional for me because I was friends, and some of these folks feel like family to me. And in some cases, like Spruce Mill Farm, I wrote an article, the young owners, they own a farm. They opened this restaurant, which had a coffee shop in it. they were going to open a dinner service. They did all these collaborative events with breweries and others, and they had this confluence of events during COVID where they had people who were longtime customers who said, we refuse to wear masks in your business and we're not going to support you. And then they had people, because the city council in Dover-Foxcroft voted against some of these policies that were intended to, protect the population and do whatever, and businesses in that town, whether they agreed with the policy or not, had to comply. Mm-hmm. And people from, say, other communities in Maine were writing letters to them saying, we're not going to come into your town or business because the city council or the select board made a decision not to support mask wearing. So they were in a situation where they were hit on both sides. They were damned if they did, damned if they didn't. And now this place that served, older Mainers from that town would go there and meet their friends. That was their social gathering place. And it really, it was like heartbreaking. And it was hard, and and this was a young couple, and they were making, that place was, whether it's there or the Shin Pond Pub or whatever it was hard in whether it was in Portland, and how many places closed in Portland, or Auburn, or Lewiston, or wherever. And small business owners like me who didn't, the restaurant community started having these calls, and I was invited to participate because I had connections in other parts of the state and was honored to be participating in them. But you had Ilma Lopez and Damian Sansonetti from Cheval, Justin Walker and Danielle Johnson Walker from Walker's Maine. You had all these Andrew Volk and Brianna Volk from Hunt and Alpine. You had all these people who were considered leaders in Maine's food and hospitality space participating in these calls saying, oh, we're effed, literally. That was the first comment. Okay, can we all just agree that we're all effed in this situation? And what are we gonna do? And what was incredibly inspirational in those moments of participating in these calls are these are people who are literally just trying to survive, mm-hmm. trying to keep their communities vibrant and dynamic. And so there were, let's have an organizational event where we circulate letters to members of Congress, giving them the impact statements, mm-hmm. to the governor, to this. And then I had something to offer because I had 20 years of public mm-hmm. policy experience, but also the connections to places mm-hmm. that were in rural Maine. So they would say, Vanessa, can you circulate this letter to Senators King, Collins, and mm-hmm. to our congressional delegation, and can you get it out to these folks that we just don't know and we don't have connections to? So I felt like, and everybody I feel like played a role. And everybody who went out and got takeout and didn't just get takeout, but actually tipped on takeout, mm-hmm. and understood that, I'm sorry, I'm not actually sitting in the restaurant, but I'm going to tip because the workers who work in that restaurant rely on these tips to pay their bills and be able to keep their home. I'm here, I think, because you or somebody feels like I have a successful business. I don't yet. I'm not yet able to pay all my bills. And mm-hmm. I feel like I don't know that I can call myself a successful business until I can pay my bills and not have debt. And during that period of time, I had to defer my mortgage. I had to go through all this other stuff that a lot of other people have had to go through. And so when we started coming out of COVID, and all these people were like, look at all the people coming to Maine. Restaurants are making money hand over fist. Farmers are making money hand over fist. Everybody's making tons of money. You all should be like, oh, you guys are fine. No, we're not fine. By the way, I have $45,000 in mortgage payments that I deferred for over a year and a half. How is that fine? Because I got 5 new clients? So I'm sorry, I know I talk too much. It's nobody walks a mile in anybody else's shoes ever. And I think, hopefully, those of us who live in a state where most of us have to cobble together several jobs to be able to live in Maine. I mean, how many people do we hear from? I would love to live in Maine, but financially I just could never make that work because Mainers oftentimes have to work 3-4 jobs to actually make a living. So anyway, so that's, so COVID and all that. But the good thing about my business was I had started these other things where I sourced private chefs to cook in private vacation rentals. I did provisioning and delivery services to the doors of people who were coming here who really wanted to socially distance, stay in a vacation rental, but wanted farm fresh, how many
strawberries.
So that was the other thing is I was able to help infuse a little bit of income to farmers, cheesemakers, beer makers, coffee roasters, chocolatiers, potato chip makers, whatever, because people would give me their provisions list and they're like, go to the grocery store. And as much as I love Hannaford is awesome because they're amazing and they support Maine life and I would definitely shop there, but I also love to go as many products as I could from the local farms, from the butchers, from the fishermen, from the oyster farmers, and bring that stuff to their door. So that kind of like helped make my business survive. Otherwise,
and you were also helping other businesses survive, which is great.
But they helped me.
But you had such a wide network that it really does help them as well. So I think that's what's so great about Vanessa is that every time you've had what do you call a problem, you've actually found opportunity through that, right? And so I think you might not be successful on paper with your ledger, but where you are a success undeniably is knowing how to make things like that work, not just for you, but for the state. And that's why we have you on the stage today, because you are innovative and you've reinvented yourself. And you're kind of reinventing the way we celebrate food in Maine and enjoy the whole adventure of it all, right? Like I live in Maine, I don't get to enjoy it half the time. I'm too busy having 4 jobs.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's great to have someone like your Maine concierge where now we all know all the different things you do, from your dinners, your events, your provisioning, all the amazing dream vacay experiences that you curate for people. Like, I mean, I cannot tell you how many times Guy has said in 15 years, I just want to go fishing.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to do that for one day and we just cannot make that happen. So guess what?
So that's Clifton from
You're
10 Mile
making that
Guide
happen.
Service. And it
Yeah.
was funny because we filmed with him when we did the Lincolnville episode. And I think he didn't think I knew how to fish. No, he definitely didn't think I
Did
knew
you
how to
tell him about
fish.
that bass that you caught when
100%,
you were like 6?
but he's like, okay,
All
he's
right.
like, I'm going to be on the show, but if you guys don't catch a fish, I'm not having it on there because all my people catch fish, and you're taking me out on the middle of the day. I go, don't worry about it. And so he's like, well, this is how you catch. I'm like, give me the pole. And so I caught a fish, and his
Look at that face.
His
You got
face
that big
expression
smile.
was funny because he's like, all right, I'm sorry that I doubted you. And so it was funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, this has been quite a ride, Vanessa, and we've got some really fun things going on after tonight's talk, right?
Yeah, we got a raffle.
But before we do that, we've got to get some Q&As, because I know that there's so many questions I didn't get to ask you tonight, like, what's the most random thing you've ever eaten in Maine, or like, what's the most really badass episode that you've been in Maine life that you're not telling us about, where everything just crashed and burned, and all these great questions that are, so I'm gonna pass it on to our amazing audience who've been so wonderful tonight and laughed at everything that's funny and not funny or whatever.
Okay.
And let them talk to us for a while.
Sounds
How's
good.
that? Okay.
All right.
And I think Paul's gonna bring us the raffle bucket.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul, because
Yay.
this is drum
Are we doing the
roll.
raffle first? Or
No. We'll do some questions because I know there's a
Okay.
few, and we have an after party in about 6 minutes, and the clock
Everybody's
starts
invited.
now.
Yes.
All right. This is Maine, guys. We close at 9:30 at Maine, so we got to keep things moving. All right. So, does anybody have any fun questions for Vanessa that I know we didn't cover tonight? I know there's questions out there. Feel free. All right. Somebody ask one question. Awesome. You get a prize. I'm just kidding. Repeat the question.
Yeah, so the question was, do I have a listing of where all of these places were that were in the slideshow? So I actually don't, and the interesting thing is I don't have like a listing on my website, because the way that I typically work with folks is they'll call me and I try to find out more about the client and what their interests are. So like some things up here might appeal to some people and some things might not. So I just hear what you might be interested in and then talk with you about here's what I think you guys might like, and that's how that typically works. But if you are curious about any of those places, I'm more than happy to give you a list of where all of those photos were taken.
So it's like hyper customized service.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, any other questions here? All right. Hi, Ian.
What on earth with finding food and beverage and service could people possibly fight about? That one fight you didn't elaborate on.
No, so the question was about the private chef dinner where we had a fight. It wasn't an actual fist fight. It was, there were some folks that were invited to that particular dinner that apparently had a history that I wasn't aware of. And words were exchanged. Some unfriendly words were exchanged. And then one of the folks threatened to cut the head off the owner of the restaurant. And then they were asked to leave.
Politely.
Politely.
Just like good old manners.
A little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
They're all unique dinners. They're all
Yeah.
different. And that one is unforgettable.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally. So you don't just come for the food, Vanessa. We
Come for the
entertainment. Yes.
It was like Roadhouse.
It's the sideshow.
Roadhouse with like Sam Elliott and Patrick Swayze, circa 1980, whatever that was. Awesome.
All right, I think we're going to have a raffle drawing, because we've got just too many prizes. And we actually have some of the folks who've donated prizes
100%.
here in the audience. So
Yes.
please let's give them a round of applause
We're
for
gonna
supporting.
definitely do this. Thank you.
Thank you,
babe.
Paul. So do you want to
Okay.
announce all the prizes and who's here tonight?
100%.
All right.
So as you all know, your Maine Concierge does lodging, dining, and activities, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. So
And card games.
and card games, yes. So for lodging, my very, very good friends, Millicent Renato Christie from Glenmore by the Sea in Lincolnville. If you've not been to their property, it is incredible. You need to book your stay there. They're amazing, and they've donated an overnight in one of their amazing...
Where is it?
It's in Lincolnville.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it is just the most amazing property ever. And the person who wins this is Margie Horwitz. Yay!
Where's Margie?
So you don't have to come up. You just talk to Renato and Millicent, and they'll set you up. All right,
Oh,
cool.
that's great.
All right,
Congratulations.
so for dining, I mean, amazing. So I don't know if anybody is familiar with Broad Arrow Farm in Bristol, but Chef Dustin Martin and owners Dan and Maggie Sullivan and market Director Anna, I think Chef Dustin and Anna are here. They've donated a $50 gift certificate, some of the best pork, some of the best everything you'll ever eat, and you see their pork on like tons of restaurant menus.
Like melt in your mouth.
Exactly. Aaron Bagley,
Crazy good.
are you here? Yay! Okay, cool. Dustin, where are you? Are you here? Yay! Okay, yeah. So
Anna,
go see
there's
Dustin and oh, actually, I have the gift certificate. All right, never mind. All right. So everybody, I mean, you know, the Damascotta River to oysters is what Napa Valley is to wine. Is that the saying? Okay. So Shuck Station. Anybody familiar with Shuck Station here in town? Okay. Oh, this one. Romaine Turin. Yes, Romaine. Shuck Station gift certificate. Awesome. Okay. And then for activities, we've got Marge Kilkelly and Joe Murray. Yes, amazing. Dragonfly Cove Farm, amazing. Whoever wins this is going to get a biscuit making. Let me tell you about these biscuits, okay? Biscuits. Biscuit baking and butter making class. And that is Jackie Chamberlain.
Oh, Jackie!
And Jackie's a chef, and you guys are going to have such a good time, and they're amazing. So that's awesome. And then my friend Captain Gary runs River Run Tours that goes out of Bath, and they are going to do a 1-hour free tour You go by BIW, you can go out to Popham. They can take you through Hell's Gate down the Sheepscot.
Nice.
So up to 6 guests for a 1-hour free experience. And if you want more, you can just pay the difference. And that's, is it Wendy Corlett? Wendy Corlett.
Oh, lucky
Yes.
Wendy.
Make sure I connect with you because I have the email gift certificate. Okay. And then, so somebody's going to be able to, if you want to, good luck, appear in one of the segments on Maine Life with me and Erin.
Ooh,
Start
that's a
saving
good
your
one.
appetite now. Start like not eating. So if somebody wants to be in one of our dining or activities segments on the show, you will be able to do that. And that is Joanna Holland. Joanna? Yay! All right. Okay.
Awesome.
All
All right, so you have one more plug before we go to this after party. You just launched a new segment on a show.
Oh,
Tell us about it.
So Erin and I created this new show. So many people come up to us and say, we love all the food segments on Maine Life, so we created a 7-episode new show called Maine Food Story, and it's all about food. So instead of just lodging, dining, and activities, it's all about food. And so I have a segment in there, and it's basically I invite myself over to chefs' home kitchens on their days off, make them cook for me. Completely selfish. And have conversations with them so that people can get a glimpse into their own home kitchens when they're on their days off and what life is like that. And so that show's going to start airing in the spring. And we just filmed the other day with Marge and Joe and their goats and
their biscuits.
Yeah, and their biscuits
butter
and,
making.
their
Yum.
goat stew. And we've got a bunch of other awesome segments coming up. Keiko Suzuki Steinberger is going to feed me natto. She can't wait to feed me stuff I don't want to eat. She loves it. So
This is so cool because we get to go into these chefs' home
Homes,
kitchens
in their
and
homes.
see how they eat, not how they feed everyone, but how
Exactly,
they eat, which is awesome.
exactly.
You're awesome, Vanessa.
Thank you for the
Thank
invitation.
you. This
Love
was so
it.
great.
All
How
right.
amazing is she?
All right.
I mean, just
Thank you so
fabulous.
much.
You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
All right, the after party, River House.
River House.
Let's roll.